Ano mi no la morli.
Two awkward teens, a hacked computer, a digital Frankenstein in heels. Weird Science is one of the strangest cult comedies of the 1980s. Equal parts sci-fi fever dream and teen wish fulfillment fantasy. But beneath the bras on heads, thundercloud parties, and nuclear showers lies a story far weirder than what made it to the screen.
Check it out.
Yo! Check us out!
Who was the real woman that inspired Lisa? What scene did the studio cut for being too wild, even for 1985? And how did Robert Downey Jr. nearly get the boot? This isn't just John Hughes' oddest creation. It's a mad lab of behind-the-scenes accidents, casting chaos, and near disasters.
Quit screwing around! This isn't funny, you stupid...
Let's power up the floppy disk and uncover 20 facts that'll surprise you about Weird Science. Fact number 1. The original script was way darker. Before it was a teen sex comedy with goofy charm, Weird Science was a much grittier story. John Hughes' earliest drafts played more like a satirical Twilight Zone episode than a high school romp. In one version, Lisa wasn't a goddess of confidence. She was a cold, manipulative AI who turned on her creators. There were fewer jokes, more existential dread, and a finale that left both boys broken, not better. It was the studio that urged Hughes to lighten the tone and add more heart. So he rewrote Lisa as a magical mentor rather than a femme fatale. The result? A bizarre but endearing morality tale, just one click away from turning into a techno-horror classic.
Love!
Just for that, I ought to give you a set of elephant balls.
One rewrite turned a digital nightmare into a teenage fantasy. Weird Science nearly left audiences in tears, not stitches. Fact number 2. Robert Downey Jr. was almost replaced. Long before Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. was just a teenage scene stealer. But his time on Weird Science almost ended before it began. Cast as Ian, one of the bullies tormenting Gary and Wyatt, Downey Jr. constantly pushed boundaries on set, improvising lines, pulling pranks, and once showing up late after a wild night out. Studio execs grew uneasy, especially since he wasn't yet a proven name. At one point, a backup actor was brought in for contingency shots, but director John Hughes liked the chaos. He felt Downey brought an unpredictable edge to the role. So he stayed. And that swagger? It became the prototype for RDJ's entire career. He almost got cut, but the chaos worked. Downey didn't just play the jerk, he perfected it. Fact number 3. Lisa was based on a real person. Kelly LeBrock's character wasn't just a fantasy figure cooked up by screenwriters. She was inspired by a very real woman. John Hughes reportedly based Lisa on a glamorous older model he met while working at Playboy magazine. This woman had brains, beauty, and a commanding presence that left Hughes both smitten and intimidated. He fused that memory with a twist from Frankenstein and My Fair Lady, imagining a digital muse who could build self-esteem, not just seduce. The result was Lisa, powerful, funny, in control. More than a pinup, she was a protector. And though she came from a computer, she had a real-world origin that haunted Hughes for years.
Hello, pretty lady. Tell me something. What's a beautiful broad like you doing with a malacca like this, huh?
She wasn't just fantasy code. Lisa was Hughes's real-life muse in digital disguise. Fact number 4. The studio didn't want Anthony Michael Hall. Anthony Michael Hall had already starred in 2 John Hughes hits, 16 Candles and The Breakfast Club. But Universal wasn't convinced he should lead Weird Science. They felt he was too quirky, too lanky, Not traditionally handsome enough to sell the film's teen fantasy angle, they pushed for a more marketable actor, someone who could deliver both comedy and teen idol charm. But Hughes refused. He believed Hall was the story, awkward, insecure, but full of potential. Hall's offbeat energy became the film's secret weapon, grounding the absurdity in something deeply human. Without him, the whole thing might have just been another forgettable teen flick.
Fast, man. Let me tell you my story, man. Last year...
He wasn't the heartthrob they wanted, but he was the soul the story needed. Fact number 5. The exploding house nearly got them shut down. That iconic scene, Lisa causing a missile to erupt through Wyatt's house during the insane party, wasn't just a visual gag, it was a logistical nightmare. The production built a full-scale set inside a real suburban home, complete with practical effects. But when the special effects team fired the pyrotechnics, something went wrong. A fire broke out in the attic, local neighbors panicked, and the fire department showed up mid-shoot. There were threats of permits being pulled, lawsuits, even a full shutdown. Somehow, they talked their way out of it. The scene stayed in the movie, but the chaos behind it? Pure, unfiltered weird science. One missile, one attic fire, and a near shutdown. Weird science nearly blew up for real. Fact number 6. Chet was inspired by a real military brother, Bill Paxton's unforgettably grotesque character. Chet wasn't born from thin air. John Hughes modeled him after someone very real, a former Marine older brother of a childhood friend. This guy was loud, terrifying, and obsessed with discipline, right down to the buzz cut and threats of violence. Paxton took that seed and ran wild, blending drill sergeant bark with disgusting older sibling energy. His over-the-top performance, especially the infamous greasy pork sandwich served in a dirty ashtray line, turned a minor antagonist into a cult icon. Chet didn't just bully, he dominated. And Hughes never forgot the real-life inspiration who could clear a room with just a sneer.
You stewed, buttwad!
Me?
Know what time it is?
Chet wasn't just written, he was summoned from real-life terror and turned into comedy gold. Fact number 7. Bill Paxton improvised the most iconic lines. Chet's venomous one-liners weren't all in the script. Bill Paxton, known for his improvisational flair, created several of Chet's most unforgettable insults on the spot. That infamous, "How about a nice greasy pork sandwich served in a dirty ashtray?" line? 100% Paxton. He delivered it during a take with such sincerity that the cast and crew erupted in laughter, ruining multiple shots. But Hughes loved it. He encouraged Paxton to go further, and soon Chet became a grotesque caricature of every nightmare older brother rolled into one. The irony? Paxton was one of the nicest guys in Hollywood. Chet was just his monstrous shadow. Chet's filthiest insults came straight from Paxton's brain. Proof that the nicest guys play the nastiest roles. Fact number 8. The party scene was pure chaos. The legendary party sequence, where Lisa invites an army of punks, bikers, and outcasts into the house, spiraled out of control, just like in the movie. Hughes hired real bikers, club kids, and underground extras to populate the scene. Many showed up in costume and character, drinking real alcohol and ignoring direction. At one point, a motorcycle nearly crashed through a prop wall that wasn't meant to break. Another time, an extra passed out in a bathtub mid-take. The scene worked because it felt unhinged. But behind the camera, the chaos was real, raw, and barely contained. For one night, that set was a war zone of 1980s teenage anarchy. The party felt wild because they didn't stage chaos, they unleashed it. Fact number 9. A deleted scene got too controversial for 1985. There was one sequence that never made the final cut, and for good reason. In a now infamous deleted scene, Lisa uses her powers to freeze time and force 2 teachers to embarrass themselves in front of the school. One of them ends up stripped to his underwear mid-lecture. Test audiences were shocked. Some parents called it inappropriate and mean-spirited, especially for a film already walking the edge of PG-13. Hughes decided to scrap the scene entirely. But the footage still exists in some early promo reels, faded, bizarre, and lingering like a ghost from the version of Weird Science that almost was too weird to release.
Here's the deal, folks. Gary and Wyatt, they created me on their computer.
I'm not gonna step.
Too strange, too mean, too much. This deleted scene was buried, but its ghost still lingers. Fact number 10. The Barbie scene sparked a real backlash. In the film's most infamous moment, Gary and Wyatt hook electrodes to a Barbie doll and bring Lisa to life. Audiences laughed, but critics and parenting groups were less amused. They saw it as objectification in its most literal form. 2 teenage boys literally building a woman from plastic and pixels. The backlash was quiet, but pointed. Some schools even banned screenings of the movie during teen film units. But Hughes defended the scene. To him, it wasn't about fantasy fulfillment. It was about 2 clueless kids learning what it really means to respect and understand women, albeit through an absurd sci-fi detour. Either way, the controversy never quite faded. To some, it was comedy. To others, a cautionary tale in a miniskirt. The debate never died. Fact number 11. John Hughes wrote the script in just 2 days. While most screenwriters labor over drafts for months, John Hughes had a different rhythm. Fast, instinctive, and obsessive. The entire Weird Science script was written in just 2 days. Fueled by coffee and 1980s synth tracks, Hughes reportedly locked himself in his office and emerged with a completed draft after a single weekend. Universal execs were stunned. The script was tight, funny, and weird in all the right ways. Hughes said the story came to him fully formed, like a dream you just write down before it fades. It wasn't just speed, it was clarity. He knew exactly what he wanted, and he delivered it at lightning pace. 2 days, 1 vision, 0 hesitation. Weird Science was lightning caught on a keyboard. Fact number 12. The film was shot in sequence. Rare for a comedy. Most films are shot out of order for budget and location reasons, but Weird Science was different. John Hughes insisted on shooting the movie in chronological order, a rare move for any film, especially a teen comedy. His reasoning? He wanted the actors' performances to evolve naturally, especially as the characters gained confidence and self-respect. That progression, from nervous weirdos to kind of cool heroes, wasn't just acting. It was emotional momentum built day by day on set. You can feel it in the final product. The awkwardness is real. So is the growth. It was risky, expensive, and inefficient. But for Hughes, it was worth every take.
If you were a 15-year-old boy, would these turn you on?
Shot in order, built in real time, Weird Science didn't just grow on screen, it grew with them. Fact number 13. Downey Jr. and Hall were total pranksters on set. Put 2 teenage boys in a John Hughes film, give them long hours and 0 supervision, and you get total mayhem. Robert Downey Jr. and Anthony Michael Hall reportedly turned the set into their personal playground. From swapping out crew members' scripts with fake pages to hiding raw eggs in co-stars' trailers, they pranked everyone, including Hughes himself. The crew nicknamed them the Disruptors, but their antics created real chemistry, especially in scenes where Hall's character is supposed to be annoyed by Downey's bully energy. Behind the scenes, they were laughing the whole time, and occasionally driving the production staff to the brink of madness.
I feel like an asshole. This had better work. This is just a blueprint, okay? Now look. You like it?
Behind every great scene was a prank, and two teenage disruptors laughing off camera. Fact number 14. Kelly LeBrock almost quit mid-film. Despite her effortless performance, Kelly LeBrock didn't have an easy time filming Weird Science. She clashed with some cast members, hated the long hours, and grew frustrated with the tone of certain scenes, especially those that leaned too hard into crude humor. At one point, after a particularly exhausting night shoot, she reportedly told her agent she was walking off the set for good. It took a personal phone call from Hughes and a rewritten scene to get her back. That grace, strength, and mystery Lisa radiated on screen, it came from a place of real-life tension. She wasn't just acting confident, she was fighting for control.
Give me your word that you'll leave Wyatt and Gary alone and I'll change you back.
Oh.
Lisa's power wasn't just scripted, it came from LeBrock fighting for her place, scene by scene. Fact number 15. The mall scene was a real location, now gone. That opening mall scene, where Gary and Wyatt nervously stalk the escalators like junior creeps, was filmed at the Northbrook Court Mall in Illinois. It was a real, fully operational mall, and most of the people in the background were actual shoppers. Filming had to pause every few minutes to let real customers pass through. Today, that location is unrecognizable. Renovated, renamed, and eventually stripped of its 1980s charm, the original mall is gone. But in Weird Science, it's frozen in time. A glowing cathedral of neon storefronts, teenage awkwardness, and retail fantasy. A perfect backdrop for a film about misfits trying to figure it all out. The mall may be gone, but in Weird Science, it's still glowing, stuck in eternal 80s awkwardness. Fact number 16. Lisa's powers were never explained, on purpose. In a film overflowing with technology, there's one thing Weird Science never bothers to explain: how Lisa's powers actually work. She creates cars, manipulates time, controls the weather, and conjures living beings. But is she magic? AI? A glitch in the Matrix? Hughes didn't care. In fact, he intentionally left her origin and abilities vague. He believed the mystery made her more powerful and more symbolic. Lisa wasn't meant to be understood. She was a force of growth, chaos, and transformation. A teenage fever dream wrapped in leather. In the world of Weird Science, logic takes a back seat to metaphor. And Lisa is the metaphor.
Do I look like I'm in high school?
No. Well,
She wasn't built to make sense. Lisa was built to change everything, and she did. Fact number 17. They used real firearms in a teen comedy. Yes, you read that right. During the chaotic biker invasion scene, the production used actual firearms, including a working shotgun, on set. The weapons were overseen by professional handlers and were loaded with blanks, but safety protocols were not nearly as strict in 1985 as they would be today. Crew members later admitted that they were a little too relaxed about the scene's intensity. Sparks flew, eardrums rang, and several cast members were shaken after take one. Today, that would be a lawsuit waiting to happen. Back then, It was just another day of weird science. A teen comedy with real bullets flying. It wasn't just movie mayhem. Weird Science went full throttle with real guns in a teen comedy. Fact number 18. A young actor got fired for laughing at the wrong time. In one early classroom scene, a young background actor kept breaking character, laughing during every take of Anthony Michael Hall's dialogue. Hughes gave him a warning, then another. But on take 5, when Hall launched into a particularly weird monologue, the extra burst out laughing again. That was it. He was fired on the spot, replaced by another teen in the same wardrobe. Hughes was known for being easygoing, but when it came to timing and tone, he had zero tolerance for derailment. That short laugh cost someone their first big break, and cemented Hughes's quiet reputation as a no-nonsense perfectionist beneath the charm.
I love this one.
One laugh too many, and he was out. Hughes didn't joke when it came to getting the tone right. Fact number 19. Hughes had bigger plans for the Weird Science universe. After the film's surprise success, Universal approached John Hughes with a pitch. Turn Weird Science into a franchise, a trilogy, maybe even a Saturday morning cartoon. Hughes was intrigued for about 10 minutes. He wrote early notes for a sequel where Lisa returns to fix the adult lives of Gary and Wyatt, now stuck in dead-end jobs and broken relationships. But he quickly abandoned it. He felt the original was perfect in its imperfections. Adding to it, he said, would ruin the mystery. Still, his notes survived. And if you read between the lines of Weird Science, you'll find traces of a world that almost expanded.
Lame idea. The problem is your computer's a wimp and we need a lot more power than this. That's the problem.
What do you suggest?
A sequel was sketched, then scrapped, because some weirdness is too perfect to repeat. Fact number 20. The TV spin-off was a wild, forgotten ride. Most fans don't know this, but Weird Science lived on as a TV show. From 1994 to 1998, a syndicated sitcom version aired for 5 bizarre seasons. Lisa was now played by Vanessa Angel, and the boys were recast. The tone? Way goofier. Think Saved by the Bell meets Twilight Zone. Despite mixed reviews, the show developed a cult following. It leaned hard into cartoonish sci-fi, time travel, and meta-jokes. John Hughes had no involvement, and many fans of the original film still don't know it existed. But for a brief moment in the 90s, Weird Science became a small-screen experiment all its own.
Well, we have been within 3 months. We've been to all the parties and met all the people.
We won't go to any more parties, and we won't meet any more people. We'll go into a...
It was weirder, cheesier, and totally unexpected. Weird Science lived on, but in a world of its own. Weird Science was more than just an 80s oddball, it was lightning in a bottle. Part dream, part disaster, all heart. From near firings to almost explosions, every scene came with a dose of real chaos. If you learned something strange, or stranger than you expected, hit like, subscribe for more deep dives, and let us know your favorite Lisa moment in the comments. Because sometimes, the weirdest movies leave the deepest mark.